All right, we're recording. I think it's official. I think I see it recording on my screen. Yes, we are. So we're here. It's day 5. It is day 5 of Hearthglow. Although if you're on the audio, that's probably very confusing because it's been split up into multiple parts. In any case, Hearthglow continues, is what I'm saying. And we are back, and so it's a pleasure to see all of you lovely folks. And I realized I'm supposed to be looking here because that's where the camera is for me. So we're back. And I should mention, first of all, Happy New Year. We're recording this in 2025. And that's actually very relevant because, as I'm going to talk about in just a second here, we have stuff going on beyond just this month and next month. We have a big finale coming up that we're going to talk more of the details about next month. We can give you a little sort of sneak preview, at least initially. If you have been watching this, thank you so much. Please do spread the word about Hearthglow. You can find it on the website, arvineleron.com. You can also find it on the YouTube channel, which is associated with my YouTube channel, youtube.com/arvineleron, I believe it is, ARVANELERON. But please do spread the word and let people know about it because it's coming up to a big finish set here in the Hearthglow universe. So, before I introduce these folks, I will mention that we're going to have another long recording like this next month in February, and then in March, we will be doing our big finale. I am happy to announce that it is going to take place at, get ready, drum roll, please, everybody, Sacred Heart University. That's right, Sacred Heart University in Bridgeport, Connecticut is going to be hosting this. I'm super excited about that. Thank you to Adam for being the one who has bridged the gap, let us say, for that. So that's awesome. I'm super excited for that. And that will be an in-person live event too. We will record it, but we're going to have people there. So wherever you may be, if you're like, I wish I could see these, why can't I be in Greg's office? You cannot be in my office, but you can be in a theater where you get to watch us do our thing. That will be coming up in March. We'll have more details about dates, about where you can get tickets, about spreading all the word and all that stuff next month. But I wanted to let you know because I'm pretty pumped about that. That's good New Year information for that. So now that I've done that, I can introduce everybody, and that will start with the person on my left, Carlos Hernandez. Happy New Year, Carlos.
Happy New Year. Yeah.
And tell me how things are in your neck of the woods, and who are you playing today?
Yeah. So things are going well. Happy New Year to everybody. My semester has finished, which means it has instantly opened this fecund period where I try to do 16 trillion projects in the course of January.
Yeah, it was telling me all about it in the car.
Yeah,
it's a lot of projects.
I've written a 10-minute play. Claire and I co-designed a draft of a game. I prototyped a different game. Tomorrow is my big novel reboot. So like everything is happening, and it's a glorious time to be alive. I love January. So it's wonderful. And I am playing Ali Needy. Nide, forgive me.
I was going to say, I have it right here.
Yeah. She's trying out, some things in her identity. A sorcerer, a dragonborn of the Fey persuasion, who may or may not be infused with Tiamat's blood. We'll see.
Maybe, yeah. That's
Tiamat's something.
Yeah, that's going to happen. If any of you saw the secret level D&D, which I recommend if you haven't, totally stolen from Carlos's character. So
oh, really?
We'll be waiting for the money whenever it actually arrives. It's really good, by the way. If you get a chance to see, it's like 10 minutes. And do you know about the secret level thing?
No.
It's Amazon took all of these video games and they basically did Amazon Video, whatever they're called, their movie thing.
Yeah.
And they basically got a bunch of people to animate different video games like Pac-Man and Borderlands, but like all over the map. And they did Dungeons and Dragons, and it's called The Queen's Cradle. It's great. It's grim a little bit, no more than a little bit, but it's really, really well done and really well animated. And it's one of those like, all right, D&D continues to arrive. So, highly recommend. So, anyway.
D&D has evolved. So, can you imagine all you 80s kids
right?
that you would have like a hosted event of Dungeons and Dragons at Sacred Heart University?
Right?
Sacred Heart would be like putting stakes through our heart
I know.
in the 80s.
Yeah? I know. We avoided the satanic panic, and now they're just like, all right, fine.
Come in, Satan.
It's fine. Next month, they're like, so we're not going to be a
Wow.
Right.
Always a pleasure to have Carlos with us. Also a pleasure to have Claire with us.
Thank you.
CSC Cooney. Good to see you, Claire. How are you? How's everything in your neck of the woods? You're obviously, also super busy, but like, how's Tricks? And
it's been really fun. We've been trying not to overschedule ourselves because the minute we don't overschedule ourselves is when we write 10-minute plays and iterate new games and stuff like that.
That's what happens.
I'm prepping for my book release in April of St. Death's Herald. Also, we kind of had a soft book release last month come out.
Right.
We did a collection that came out kind of simultaneously with our game that is coming out, and it sort of released without anybody knowing it, and we didn't even know it was out. And then we were like, wait a second. So our collection, Infernal Bargains, is available where books are sold right now, and they're all stories and poems that we wrote either together or separately, inspired by the deck of cards that is the central mechanic of our game, our TTRPG Negocios Infernalis. So it's really special to us. We weren't going to do it, and then the backer levels kept rising during our Kickstarter last year, and we were like, oh, I guess we need some, what are they called?
Reward.
Stretch goals.
Stretch goals. We have enough material for a book, so we're planning a book release for that is more celebratory and certainly more intentional, so that's exciting.
Yeah, I just noted it down. I didn't know that either.
So if you're going to BossCon...
I am?
Yeah, if you're going to BossCon, that con in Boston...
Is that where you're doing it?
Yeah, we're going to do one book release there, and then in June we're going to have a party in New York. So we're going to...
Come to both.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
It's going to be like as long as...
You were at both releases. Like I know people, okay? I get to go to both their releases. Yes. Who are you playing, by the way?
Sorry. I'm playing Mog Riz. She's a hyena rogue, a hyena shifter rogue. I kind of think of her as a cross between Eponine from Les Mis and Spot from Newsies and all the hyenas in Lion King.
Every single hyena.
Every one of them.
Always a pleasure to have Claire with us. Also a pleasure to have Adam with us. Adam, let me make sure you are next on the list. Good. Adam, how are you doing? Adam Petrosino. Again, thank you for the Sacred Heart connection. We appreciate that. Assuming they'll still, after seeing this, still have us. But how are you doing? How's life with you, and who are you playing?
Very well. I'm working on a lot of writing projects right now. I have a play going up in a couple months at Sacred Heart as well, with Theater Fest, fully produced.
So cool.
I'm working on a 2-act, I'm working on a musical, I'm working on a TTRPG project for health relations, working on a lot of different stuff. I'm doing very well. I'm playing Wilhelm Scriven, half-elf, bard, poet.
Who totally knows it. Ha.
And his feet shows it.
Yeah, that's it. Always a pleasure to have Adam with us. And last but certainly not least, I'm looking over on this monitor because that's where we can see Zach. Zach, it is good to see you. How are you doing, my friend? It's good to see you. I wanted to note for everybody that Zach is looking particularly Californian today because of the poncho and all that kind of good stuff. So feels very, very appropriate. Yeah, how you doing, man? How's life in the universe with you, and who are you playing in this session?
Life in the universe is pretty good. I've been sort of head down working at the San Francisco program that we have going with the kids and teens there, mentoring a young dungeon master named Turk, who's been helping out with the program there.
He's the young Turk.
A young Turk!
Oh my god, I just realized that. Wow.
You gotta make a company called the Young Turks.
I guess,
wow.
Anyway, so that's happening. I'm on several Arvin Eleron projects, including the Our Vocalists and Expedition from the Mysterious Peaks, this tabletop stuff. And then I've also, that's the other big thing before I talk about the character I'm playing. I've returned to streaming content. So I haven't really done that over the last year, but this year kind of my goal is to highlight roleplay communities in video games. So kind of the most popular ones, examples of that are people who do like Grand Theft Auto RP, or people who do Red Dead Redemption RP. But the ones that I focus on and highlight from time to time are text-based ones, like the roleplay communities in World of Warcraft and in Minecraft. And so I've been doing those streams and other stuff. So you can check me out on... You just look up my name, you'll find all the stuff that I do. But you'll also find this, the Hearthglow podcast, where I play Elder Hanu. Did you catch that transition? It was great.
It was beautiful.
Elder Hanu.
It was so slick.
They call you the Segway King for a reason.
Thank you. Yeah. Elder Hanu, a Tortle druid who is currently at 8 out of 27 hit points. So,
Somebody
that's
heal
me.
him fast.
Yes,
somebody heal him fast.
Needs to be healed.
Zach, I also want to note for the podcasters that you had the Alphaba glasses before they were cool.
Everyone was talking
true.
about that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Yep, I had these glasses. Look, they were stolen from me by Alphaba, and I stole them from a random person on TikTok who I saw had the glasses, and I was like, "Where'd you get those?" But I had them second.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it makes a less good story when you find out that it wasn't actually yours to begin with. So I'm just going to assume that
Yeah.
part's not true, and that
Of course. No, I just made that
TikTok's
up.
not
Yeah,
real.
Yeah.
Well, give it
It may not
a
even be
week.
legal
Give it a
in a
week.
month.
Give it
Who
a week.
knows?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Give it a week.
And that statement will be true.
Oh my god.
We'll see.
Anyway, it is always a pleasure to have Zach with us in this really wonderful crew. So let's get rolling. In our last session, the aforementioned students plus one faculty member that have been trying to track down the person who was responsible for the accomplice of one Vernon Richard, who tried to throw him this horrific magical item known as a Megirolith that would have drained the magic from the university, from the academy, from the city, and perhaps the world. Who knows? It would have been really bad. How did she get this Megirolith, and where is this person? Where are they? All we know is that they're a shadowy, cloaked figure, and the crew was sent out, the students were sent originally just to look at the quarters of Vernon Richard and basically see if they could gather some information from there. Funny thing happened on the way to the forum. This thing was a massive tower with multiple floors where there was all this kind of crazy stuff going on, and in fact there was a portal to another world which the students and teacher went through because they felt like they had been sent to investigate, and so they went to investigate, damn it, no matter what it cost. And so they entered this strange kind of almost series of seasonal experiences where they have entered this druid's grove. They met a hag that they had to battle and managed to defeat. They then traveled forward to the time of autumn. They were given, I should say, after they defeated the hag, they were given this special orb by these creatures that live there that apparently have been either imprisoned or enslaved or oppressed or something by this other unknown force that they continue to sort of hear references to obliquely but have not met directly. Mogriz at one point had a moment of speaking to a set of eyes in a mirror and that sort of thing, but even that was sort of tell Rashad blah blah blah, right? It wasn't an actual I'm in front of you. So they're still trying to find out who is at the sort of core of this, and of course where the heck is the person who was the accomplice, as we said before. So they got the orb from the pixies. They went on to the autumn period of time where they met an owl who spoke to them a little bit about the way in which the forest and the trees have been gradually undercut and have been corrupted and tainted by the presence of whatever this thing is. The owl gave them a feather that allowed them to open up a portal that entered this winter world, which is the world that, for those of you watching the long form on YouTube, will see on your screen, and I have a version of this here for them on the table. Here they met essentially a not friendly snowman, a massive snow creature that they managed to defeat. Part of that is because Mr. Round Clown, who I guess has some, not hero worship, but like relationships, connections with other people that have three circles set on top of each other. Anyway, Mr. Round Clown did a lot of damage and so on, while Elder Hanu apparently tanked all of it while he took a lot of damage from various creatures. And so, as we are about to start our session today, right at the end of the session, they defeated the snow creature who left behind this strange blue crystal. And the students took the crystal, and I believe it was Allie, we said, who took that crystal, brought it forward to the portal, this thing that was glowing, and as they brought it close to, that thing here in the center, there's a sort of swirling portal that kind of glows and increases its brightness and then lowers as the crystal is taken away. Presumably that will take them to wherever the next region is going to lead them, as they're progressing towards something, getting more information about this person that they need to know. Other thing that you need to be aware of, by the way, is that the thing they came through, that door doesn't seem to be open going the other direction, so as they say, the only way out is through. And so the party has to decide that as well. So, as I hand things back over to the party, I know there was discussion of the possibility of doing a short or maybe a long rest, so what would the party like to do?
How you doing, Teach? I say to Elder Hanu.
I'm okay.
I'm imagining you're totally inside of your shell at this point.
Yeah.
Just calling it out.
I'm like,
I'm alright.
Holding it next to him.
Teach, I've known a lot of really good liars in my life, and you ain't one of them.
Yes.
And that's not a bad thing. It's a compliment.
If we were to rest for just maybe an hour, I can be functional.
I don't know. What do you think? I say to the other two here.
I think it's high time for a rest as well. I'm sort of out of juice. And not feeling as good either.
Is there any place in the general vicinity where we can find some shelter from the cold? I don't know how great it's going to be to rest in this place.
I'm gonna take that as my cue to use my firebolt and just see if I can just melt some snow in the area.
You certainly can melt some snow. Not enough probably to keep anything heated or, like running, but you can certainly melt some snow to begin with.
Yeah, just sort of like looking at this area here. It looks like there are a lot of rocks in the area,
yes.
Right?
Yes.
So like what I'm going to do is I'm just going to gather up a bunch of rocks
okay.
into a mini pile, and
okay.
I'm just going to blow on them for like 4 minutes and really try to heat the rocks.
Okay.
Oh yeah, hot
okay.
rocks, and I can firebolt with you. We can take turns.
Yeah, so we're just going to heat some rocks.
Okay, I saw this in Star Trek. It should totally work. Not that exists in this world. I'm sorry for crossing the streams. Okay.
What's Star Trek?
You say Star Trek. All right.
It says TTRPG we play at Hearthglow Academy.
There's these great... Anyway, okay, so yes, I think you can probably do that. So what I'll say is, and this is not, I swear, I'm not trying to artificially limit you, it's not going to last for the 6 to 8 hours you'd need for a long rest. But if you're going to talk about something that might last for an hour, probably you can do that, Ali.
Yeah, I mean, just to give us some heat around
Yeah,
here
for sure.
for right now, because otherwise we would be taking shifts and people could
That's
do
right.
things. But I say like, so how out of juice are you? I say to Wilhelm,
Repeat that one more time.
how out of juice are you? Like, do we need to really take some time?
Oh, I cannot cast any more spells.
Hmm.
Or give any inspiration.
So shall
Well-
we rest in shifts then?
But if the
Maybe,
elder needs to rest, then...
Yeah, I mean, I think we've bitten off a little more than we can chew, and we need a rest. It's just, this is inhospitable, right?
Well, if you and I switch off shifts, we can take turns keeping the rocks hot. But in your shift, there's nothing, you can't like heat rocks or anything with the power of your sultry gaze or anything.
I cannot.
Oh, all right.
Oh, maybe my rock. I say only to.
It echoes across the landscape. No!
And then I
Accidentally
just hyena laugh
thunderclap and it
really
echoes.
loudly.
Yeah, really like knock jokes, don't you? Elder Hanu, do you have any ability to like heat rocks?
I do, but I would need to take a long rest.
Oh, okay. But yeah, we're trying to see if we hang out for, if we basically make camp, who could alternate. But I think maybe we'll just take a couple of shifts and we'll have to just extend it so that we get a full rest too.
Oh, right, okay.
We also could place a bet on what's beyond this. If we really wanted to.
What if it's worse than the snowman?
That would be really bad.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. For now, it seems quiet. Why don't we take a short rest and see if anything tries to kill us?
Sure.
And if it doesn't, we'll just keep going. Does it sound good?
Yes.
Yeah, what are the rules on short rest into long rest? Like, can you do 7 more hours for a long rest, or do you have to like do
You could,
9
but there's
hours?
no reason to do it. It doesn't really stack, right? Like a long rest would take up basically what a short rest would do anyway.
The reason
So-
to do it would be just in case we don't get a long rest, like if it gets interrupted, to do the short rest to at least have that benefit.
Yeah, so the thing is, it's not going to overlap. So you could do a short rest and then do a long rest, but the long rest will be the full long rest
Will
time.
be full 8 hours,
Yeah.
so that would be a 9-hour stint.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which, I mean, again, you're right. Nothing's moving right now. I don't know what you're all feeling in terms of like temporal, tension or whatever in terms of moving forward, but it's up to you.
I think.
Yeah,
we just
let's-
try- yeah.
Let's
Go
start a
ahead,
short
Chris.
rest.
Short.
Because then,
you said
at
short?
least, I think mechanically we need to, if we take a short rest, part of what's happening is that because it can't overlap, we can't gain the benefits of the short rest. Like, basically 1 hour will pass, and then we hear back from our DM if anything crazy's happened, and if not, we decide then if it was just a short rest or if it's hour 1 of a long rest, basically. So I think either way we're sitting down and doing nothing, which is the qualifications for both rests. Either way,
Right.
so I think we start we just sit and do nothing for an hour, and then
And they kind of
like
see.
Sure,
Yeah.
yes. And we'll keep the rocks hot. Because rocks stay hot a long time after you heat them. So that we might be able to, if we long rest, keep it warm for a short time anyway.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So. Oh, it's my son. I was like, why am I? Suddenly I heard this unearthly singing.
I was like, what is that
So
haunting
you
music?
never mind your short rest
Yeah.
then. That's right.
I think the sirens are coming.
We're going to have these things happening.
Sing for me.
So, are you setting watches, or are you just sort
With
of,
short rest, we're not sleeping.
right? Exactly. As long as you're not. That's right. As long as you were just sort of in a period of downtime.
Maybe Teach should sleep a little bit.
I think.
You go to sleep, Teach. We
Yeah.
got your back.
Okay.
I just fully go into my show.
Okay. Right. Great. Okay. So at this point, we can do some healing stuff. Now, if anyone has hit dice remaining, and I don't remember if you've done short rest before now in this particular
I feel
campaign.
like we did one.
You might have
did
done
one.
one. So if you have any hit dice remaining, basically you can spend those now
Since I, so
during
D&D
the course
Beyond,
of the short rest.
forgive me.
That's good.
With D&D Beyond, I'm down the hit points, and I have my temporary hit points still. So I think it should also have tracked the short rest until I press long rest. Is that correct? I'm just not super aware.
I would think so, although honestly I don't use D&D Beyond very much. So Zach's more of an expert on the D&D Beyond world than I am, to be
One
honest.
of you gave me healing, and it looks like I had some temporary hit points, but I don't think they were from hit dice.
No. That's different. I
Yeah.
thought we did some. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Well, so let's put it this way. Let's do it this way. Allie, I had you at was it 13?
Yeah, I'm
out
at-
of 26?
I'm at 13 of 26, but I also currently have 8 temporary hit points.
Those temp though will pass quickly.
Yeah, they'll
So-
pass in a second. Yeah.
So I would say let's just assume
Or
for the sake of argument 13.
To my understanding, I think temp HP lasts until you finish a long rest. In most cases.
Well, were these administered through?
Unless they come from a spell that says when this spell ends, the temporary hit points go away. Which there's a couple of those, but yeah, it depends on. I think it came from Adam, whatever the temporary
I think it
HP was,
Adam who gave us
Really?
10 hit points.
I thought it was from.
maybe it was my totem.
I
Let me
think it was
see.
from the totem.
Oh, no,
Totem.
it was the
So
totem.
tell me about your totem, Zach. Maybe that's the case.
Oh yeah, it was my totem. So my totem says, the bear spirit, each creature of your choice gains in the aura gains temporary hit points equal to 5 plus your druid level.
Yep.
And there's no condition that when the aura ends, the temp HP goes away. And the general rule for temporary
Yeah, until they finish long
HP.
rest. That's right. Okay, so
Yeah.
if your totem is that same way, so all right, so then we'll keep that with the 8 temp. All right, so then Allie, you have 13, and then you have 8 temporary in addition, since you're not doing at the moment a long rest, but
That's
just
right.
a short rest. Okay, and then Elder, we just said you have 8 out of 27. You do not have any temp because those were all used
That's
up,
right.
and they attack.
Yep.
Mog, I have you at I think 20 out of 21 plus 8 temp, right?
That's what I said. Yeah, it looks like I have 28.
And then 17 out of 24 Wilhelm for you and 8 temp, right?
Yes.
Okay, so it's up to you in terms of anyone wants to heal anyone else using spells, or if you don't have that, then you can definitely spend hit dice if you wish to.
I am also going to use my Song of Rest.
Okay.
So that's another D6 to anyone who rolls hit dice.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Can we do the Song of Rest first to see how many hit dice we should use? I mean, that's then maxing. It's
I
fine.
don't
So go ahead and so you're going to use hit dice?
Yeah, I'm going to use 2 hit dice.
Is Song of Rest a spell or a
I only
it's a bard
have
ability.
bard ability?
one hit die left, so I will.
So
Roll
I
it and
just
use it.
got, dang, that's great. I got 16 hit points back just on the roll.
Wow.
So that puts me at max.
Yeah. So you don't even need to worry about who needs a song of no. The other.
I feel like I'm not going to use my hit dice right now because I have 1 point away from max.
Yeah, you're-
plus.
Oh no.
I agree. I would. I
Now,
agree.
Zach,
Okay.
can a player give another player their hit dice?
No,
No.
it's only for your.
No.
It's your pool.
All right.
I rolled an 8, so I'm up to max again.
Oh, look at that. All right, so it's
Okay.
just Elder Hanu.
Yeah, I rolled a 6 plus 3, so I regained 9.
Okay. So sad. Okay. All right. So I'm sorry, Zach. Say it again. So you rolled a what now?
I've regained 9 HP.
Okay, so you are sitting right now at 17. If you're you're going to use and now I guess you could do the Song of Rest if you want for the benefit of such an additional 1d6. So roll another 1d6 act to add to that.
Okay. 4.
Cool.
So 21 out of 27. Okay. Oh, hale and hearty. It's just totally fine.
Yeah.
Everything's okay.
So,
Okay.
and yeah, I got a good number, like my totem is back now, so I'm just also low on spells, like Adam is.
Why don't we try the long rest in shifts and, at least we're up, if anything attacks us, we have our hit points, but we'll just keep the hot rocks going. And
That's right, yeah.
Okay. Okay, you can do that. And in fact, technically, if you want to stay awake for a big portion of this and be sort of heating it on and off since you already got the short rest, you could do that. You won't get the hit dice bonus back, but it means that you could sort of actively keep you don't have to keep breathing on it every second, but you could actively keep the rocks warm.
Yeah, I think it would be more, you would do that, because I have spells to regain.
It's a cantrip to me. I mean, I only have a couple spells, and I'm not mostly a spell user.
Oh, well, then that's fine. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think we could also alternate, where basically, if I did 2 hours of rock warming, we let them sit for 2 hours, and then you woke up and did 2 hours of rock warming, and then did that. Then we could have sort of like basic coverage,
Yeah.
Yeah, because remember, it has to be really 8 hours with like no more than 2 hours sort of off. So you really have to be like resting for like a consecutive period of time for most of it. Just be aware.
Did I say that right though? So like if I do 2 hours.
Yeah, if you do 2 hours and then do 6 after,
Yeah.
that's fine. I'm just saying you can't be like 2, 1, 2, 1.
Yeah.
You need to do the full.
Because at 2 hours of rest, it gets increasingly colder. I wake up, I do 2 hours, 2 hours of rest.
Yeah, you can totally do that. Sure, absolutely.
That's the plan, anyway.
All right, so who's taking we don't have to go like great in detail about this, but who's doing what shifts?
I'll do the first shift, and I'll be heating rocks the whole time.
Okay, sounds good. And then, Mog, are you the next one up on the...
Then there's 2 hours of no one doing... like it can be a shift where somebody else takes it, and I'll take the third shift.
Okay, so who's second then? It would be either you, I guess.
The next one.
So Wilhelm's second, then you would take third, Mog, is that right? And then, so Elder Hanu then puts you last in the watch.
Okay.
I would like perception checks from you to begin with, Allie, since you're taking the
Absolutely.
first one.
Perception gets +1. We're rolling the big guy. That's a 12.
Okay. So your part of the shift seems to pass relatively uneventfully as you're, rocks going up and down. You notice that there's not really particularly a lot of wind here, but you do notice that it does start to snow a little bit, and so there are just sort of these big flakes that are coming down on top of the pool, the sort of energy pool. They melt almost immediately and so on,
right.
but definitely that's there, and that means that also you notice that it gets quieter around you. That experience, if you've been out in the snow, of the muffled sort of feeling of what that's like. So as you're there, but you don't hear anything moving or anything like that.
I'm going to take my bedroll and place it over Willem, and just sort of like plop it over as the snow is falling, and I'll just be like, take care. And I'm still feeling extremely abashed and guilty about my behavior.
Yes.
And so like I'm, thinking 6 thoughts at the same time of like how I'm gonna fix everything between us. And
I'm so tempted to have you make a sleight of hand check to see if you hit him in the face with a bedroll. I'm not
I'm making it. I'm making it. All right, I got a 16.
Oh yeah, you're fine. That's fine. I would have felt super guilty if that didn't work.
It would have been funny, though.
It would have been funny.
You could have had me sneeze.
I did it for the laughs,
firebolt on
people.
him.
All right. Okay, so when you give way to Wilhelm's 2, right? So Wilhelm, you wake up to find you have another bedroll on top of you for some reason, and there's a little bit of snow over that. And so as you sort of relieve Allie. First of all, I don't want to undercut. If anyone wants to say anything to each other, they can.
Yeah,
Do you want to wake me up?
So I give it. It's your turn.
Oh, it is cold.
Yeah.
Are you alright? You don't have anything on.
Oh, I'm fine. I'm made of fire and
Sure.
ice
All right.
and acid. And, they're like stupid. stupid.
I'm going to get a lamp going. You can take this.
Oh, and
I'll give it
I
back
do,
to you.
and I take like, thank you. I'm just like, well, yeah, see you on the other side.
Good night.
And just kind of like wander off to sleep.
Okay. I'd like a perception check from you,
Okay.
please. Well,
Ooh, 5.
5. You have
Nice.
no idea. The snow continues. You notice also that there's a faint blue light. That it's not unusual. It just feels more like the reflection, perhaps, of light from the snow off the sky that happens sometimes on winter evenings. It does seem to be getting colder, although not. It hasn't plummeted, but it's definitely getting a little colder while you're here. Otherwise, you don't hear anything in particular.
I want to bring out that blue orb crystal.
Yeah.
And is that crystal anywhere near?
It's in my pack, but you
It's in
can.
your pack.
Yeah.
I just want to see if there's any reaction between them.
Between the orb and the crystal, you don't think so.
Okay.
They don't seem to react to each other.
Gotcha.
You do notice, though, that when you bring the orb out, it does noticeably lighten the area around you. Not that it was dark, but you definitely notice that glow that I referred to almost heightens a little bit, brightens.
They said it was to give comfort in dark places.
Then I'm gonna put that in the middle, sort of shroud the light a little bit.
Okay.
Comfort.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Okay, Mog, you're up next. And again, if you two want to say something, you can.
Oh, I better heat those rocks again. You let it get cold.
I'm sorry,
That's
I'm sorry.
okay. You just need some more cantrips.
You can have this as well.
Oh,
I'll give you the lantern.
oh, thanks. Oh, and you got the orb out of my bag. That's okay. I trust you.
I like the idea it's actually a fake orb that you already made a fake. It says orb on
Yeah,
it,
it says
like
orb.
a post-it note.
Steal me first.
Yeah.
And perception roll?
Yes, please.
7.
Oh,
Total.
man, no, everyone's just like, the snow,
Everything's
it's
fine.
red,
The blue
everything's
glow, it's fine. Everything's fine.
Pretty much the same. I would say that your concentration might be somewhat on the blue orb, actually.
I'm cantripping the hot rocks too.
Yeah, and as you do that, you notice that the blue orb has gradually, slightly, I don't want to overstate it, slightly brightened as well, as the temperature continues to fall. Despite the fact that you're heating the rocks, it is getting pretty cold.
Oh God! I'm gonna move some of the rock pile closer to Elder Hanu.
Okay. Okay. All right, you can totally do that. Okay, and then Elder Hanu, you're up last. So again, if you want to say anything to Mog, or vice versa, you can.
Has anything happened over the watches?
It's just getting friggin' cold. Oh, and our little orb that we got, it's getting brighter, but I don't know. Maybe that's I don't know what it means, Teach. I'm so tired. But I put all these rocks I made really hot for you, so you would be warm on your shift.
Thank you.
Welcome. Gonna go to sleep now. And I curl up next to Allie to share body heat.
Instantly, like, woof.
Bid you a good rest and begin my watch.
I would like a perception check from you too, please.
Come on, Teach,
okay.
you could do it.
Could I use guidance on myself to add a d4?
Guide yourself.
Guidance on yourself. Yes.
Okay.
Stupid spell.
Stupid stuff.
No, it's fine.
Higher rolls. Okay, that's an 18 total.
Okay.
Finally.
Towards the end of your shift, Elder, it has been getting colder in the way I've described. The blue orb is brightening, but also the blue light in the sky around. But you also notice that as your shift is coming to an end, you notice that the blue actually, who has the blue crystal? The crystal from the snowman?
It was me, but I think you took it, right? So.
It'll be
Yeah.
around us.
Yeah.
But out, visible, right?
Out.
Okay. So you notice that the crystal that you took from the snowman is beginning to pulsate. Now, I mentioned this a little bit at the end of the last session, that it was almost, I think Mog used the term, it was like a heartbeat, and it did feel like that, and it's a little bit of this sort of slight pulsing of light. Now again, it's not actually making the sound, so I'm, right? It's not like massive footprints of some terrible beast. It's just that, but it is definitely pulsing a little bit, and you notice, Elder, that it also seems to be reflected in the sky. That the sky itself seems to be pulsing in that same way.
I grab it. I grab it in my hands, and
Okay.
is it old? I'm imagining.
Yes, but not more than the surroundings.
Okay. I'll just hang on to it, and assuming the rest of the watch does not go with any incident, the only other thing I'll do is no, never mind. I was about to summon one of the little animal familiars with my druid ability, but it only lasts for an hour, so I'll wait until it actually is relevant. I thought it was going to last.
As we get to the end of your check, a couple things. First of all, anyone who used up expended spell slots gets those back at the end of their long rest. Secondly, Elder Hanu, I need you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Okay. Do you want me to do that before or after I gain the long rest benefits?
Right before. No, I'm just kidding. After. So
Okay.
you get the
All right.
long rest benefits, but then you do the wisdom saving throw.
Okay. All right. Here we go. I rolled pretty well. That's an 18 on the die, so 23.
You have the sensation, Elder, as this pulsing is happening, you've started noticing it a little bit as if there is almost blood pulsing in your head in the same way. And you hear a whispering voice which says, "Let me in."
Can you do a stage whisper so I can hear it as a human being right next to you?
Let me in.
Let me in. Gotcha.
Now, it is not a threatening sounding voice, and it is not being done by anyone around you that you can see. It seems to be in your head. And you get the sensation, Elder, that you could, if you choose, let the voice in or not.
And I don't recognize the voice.
Nope.
And I look down at the snow crystal,
Mm-hmm.
which I have been holding,
Mm-hmm.
and I say,
Are you in this crystal?
Let me in.
is there any sense of direction of this voice in my head?
No, I can't say that yet because your current status of what you're holding and where you are. No, there's not. It's not directional. It's inside your head.
I find a flat rock or a stone or something, or one of the stones that we're heating, and I put the snow crystal on the rock so it's not in my hands anymore, but it's also not in the snow.
Right.
And then I say,
Who are you?
No response.
I grab the crystal again.
Hello?
Let me in.
I put the crystal down. All right. I find some loose cloth from my traveler's clothes, and I wrap the crystal up into a
Okay.
sort of baseball-sized wrapping.
Mhm.
While I hold it, while it's covered like that, is it still whispering?
No.
Okay. All right. When I go to wake everyone up, then I say a couple things. The elder looks a bit better. Maybe some of the scars have healed as he's supplemented his long rest with some magical healing. And he says,
All right, students. I'm feeling much better, but the
Bad news.
crystal that the snowman creature dropped is in here.
and I hold up the cloth wrapping.
It started to speak to me and said to let it in.
Oh,
And,
did you?
No.
Oh, good. Yeah, I didn't know. Sometimes people want to do that kind of thing.
So
I'd like to do an
Let's-
insight check on Elder Hano just to make sure that he isn't having a senior moment.
No, yeah, I mean, listen. Sure.
It sucks.
You think he is?
Yeah, so I'm still suspicious.
Who has any
I don't
idea?
really, I'm
Yeah.
squinting at him like, oh, the rock's talking to you.
Get that look off your face. He's the smartest, wisest, kindest teacher in the whole world.
Yeah.
We gotta trust what he says.
Sure.
And then the elder will say,
And the next thing, my memory's not the best, but we've been through, 3 of these locations, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Was the order roughly, summer, then fall, then winter?
I think so. That's what I would say.
Yeah, unless the green place was springtime, but, that's not really chronological, is it?
Right. So next would be summer or spring, if there was a pattern.
Right.
All right.
All right. Well, should we drop that crystal in the whirlpool or whatever?
I don't think we'll just put it in there and it probably just... I don't think we drop it in. I think we just go in.
Okay. If we put it here, then this opens, right? But if we move the crystal away from here, it closes.
Well, let's try it out.
All right.
So when you do that, indeed, that flares on the side there. This portal over here, Zach, right there, flares when you bring it close to the pool. When you bring the blue crystal close to the pool.
But if we try to take it away to go to the gate, it closes?
So far, you don't know yet.
Okay.
Also, you've been bringing it near the pool. You haven't actually, dropped it
Dunked
on
it
top
in.
of it or whatever, yeah.
What do you think, Teach? Give it a dunk?
I think so.
Okay. In the wrapping or out of it, by the way? Because you had it wrapped, right?
well, I'll try it wrapped up first.
Okay. Nothing happens. I mean, the flaring is still happening, but there's nothing different.
Okay.
Just sort of like plunk.
I say,
Stand back.
and I'll unwrap it.
Okay. You hear internally, "Let me in." Only the elder. And then you drop it in.
I do.
When you drop it, it doesn't sink to the bottom. In fact, it kind of bloop and then and hovers on top of the water. And the portal opens further and glows and swirls. And you think you see through the portal, I should mention. It feels very blue, like intense blue. But it is definitely a portal like the other ones, similar to the other ones you've been through.
Like sky blue?
Or ocean blue? Are we going to go swimming?
Closer
falling?
to ocean blue than sky blue.
Oh, dear.
Like arcane glowing crystal blue?
No, you wouldn't say quite like that.
Like lake blue. Get your swim trunks on, Wilhelm. Hey, Teach, should I go through? I'll be the vanguard. I pull my short bow out.
Well, if it's water, Teach should go.
Oh, we could ride on his shell. Right? You'd let us do that, right?
You can carry us like the dragon turtles of yore.
Perhaps.
I'll hold my quarterstaff and walk forward through the portal.
Okay. And is anyone following immediately or close thereby?
I so am.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Mr. Roundclown and you
I think yeah, I'm kind of
and or Wilhelm?
I'm hanging back. Like I think I want to be kind of like last this time.
Okay.
I'll
Wilhelm,
be
are you?
right after Mog. Yeah.
Okay. So Elder Hanu, Mog, Wilhelm, and then Ali.
Mr. Ronclon last.
And Mr. Roundclown last. I will say, Ali, that as you look back, you have this sort of strange experience as you're walking through, as I'm about to describe, because it feels to you as if you have left behind the cold, and instead you are almost suffused with moisture. Everything feels damp and wet. Not necessarily cold, although it's not warm, but definitely wet. And so as you walk through, you have that experience as all of you are brought to a new and different place.
New environs.
New environs. Okay, for all of you, I need you all to close your eyes temporarily for me, please.
Get a new map.
Let's see.
Well, I could have my hands like this, but if I have my hands like this, I'm in a Del Toro film.
Okay, now you can open your eyes.
Okay.
Because you step out into a world that looks somewhat similar in the Grove, except that where you are, the snow has been replaced by water. And in fact, much of what you see around is this indigo blue, like just very, very intense blue water that is rippling right up against the rocks of where the grove was. So you may remember there were like trees and like stones on the other side. You can't see most of them. There are a couple of stones kind of maybe poking up over it. But really what this looks like is water has covered over much of the sort of familiar
We're
areas
entering
otherwise.
from here?
No, you're entering from up there.
And this, so usually the other portal's on the opposite side,
That's
and there's
right.
only water there.
That's right.
It's like the lowest level of Piranesi's house.
Yeah.
So yes. And as I say, temperature is 50s, probably 60s. It's not hot, but it's not cold.
Yeah.
But it is damp. Everything. The grass is glistening with moisture, and you feel the dampness on your skin like you were, walking into a sauna or something, that a cold sauna almost. Or I guess a lukewarm sauna, if such a thing exists. But I will note that in addition to that very intense blue, the sigils that are on these rocks that are similar to sigils you've seen elsewhere in these other places, in these other worlds, are very intensely white and blue as well, and glowing.
Sigils, eh?
So we're all 5 of us.
Now
right
all of you are in there, yes.
Okay.
And as the last of you comes through, which is Mr. Roundclown, that portal closes off.
Hey, Wilhelm, you're really good at sigils, aren't you?
I'm alright. I'll check it out.
Wish I were good at sigils, but
No.
I'm good at shooting things.
I'll go inspect them.
Okay. Are you trying to comprehend languages, detect magics, do what are you trying to do with them?
Looking
If
for
anything?
some sort of school or intent.
Okay. So let me have you make an Arcana check first. Sure.
Could I also make an Arcana check?
Sure.
Like, just kind of pretending to do what he does?
Oh, sure.
I'm going on instinct.
Natural.
Arcana. A natural one. You're like, what is magic?
I love that
anyway?
you're imitating him, but he's getting 0.
You're like, this magic is crap. There's no magic.
That's funny because I do have +3 in Arcana, but that doesn't matter with a natural one.
Not so much.
22.
Okay. So I like the idea. You're like,
Right.
so you're sort of like, oh yeah, for sure.
You're like mocking him. You're like, ooh, yeah.
No, I'm not mocking. I'm not mocking. It's a sigil. It's
totally a sigil.
definitely a sigil.
So, a couple things to note. Number one, so this is glowing and bright, and you would guess that this is almost certainly enchantment magic, although you would need to use detect magic if you wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
But you would have to guess. Biggest thing about this, though, recent. Probably within the last couple of hours.
Okay.
That
So
this
when
was
we were
just
taking our
planted.
long rest.
What? We already did that.
This happened when we were taking our rest.
While we were resting.
Well, you
What
got that,
happened?
right? Huh. That's what I got, too. Yeah, I got that.
Good.
Yeah. And what kind of magic would you say it was?
It feels like enchantment.
Enchantment, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
Very good.
Thanks.
Oh, you did so well.
I know.
I didn't even know you could do that.
I know. You know what I do? I think I have a spell for these sigils. They're sigils, right?
Mm.
I'm going to cast Comprehend Languages.
Okay. I thought you were going to say comprehend sigil.
I mean, it probably won't work. Oh, I have a detect magic, but probably I'll just try. I'll try Comprehend Languages.
That stays up for like an hour or two. So.
Oh, that's nice.
I will tell you that most of what you're looking at with the sigil is just a magical symbol that doesn't translate per se into a given
Damn it!
language, but not all of it.
Okay.
There is one thing underneath it which is written very clearly in a language that you would not otherwise understand. I actually need to double check and see if you know what the
I've got
language is.
Common, Elvish, and Thieves' Cant.
But you have
Please
comprehend.
tell me.
No, it doesn't matter because you have comprehend languages.
Yeah.
What I want to know is whether it
Understand it.
tells you what the language is.
Right. It's
Let me
like
just
an
double-
alphabet you don't even recognize.
Let me just double check.
It does
Get it,
Uh,
understand.
It's not celestial, is it?
Your mom was celestial. Just kidding.
I mean, it's kind of a compliment, right?
No, I know. That's why I nudged you.
It's interesting because it's you understand any written
Did it
language
hurt?
that you see. I wonder if it tells you if you know what the
I
language is.
Did it
usually
hurt
it
when
does
your mom
not.
fell from
Yeah,
heaven?
I don't think it does, right? So I don't think
necessarily.
you know.
But I know what it means because I'm magic.
The word is passage.
Ooh. Hey, you know that sigil? that's enchanted,
Mhm.
that you found and knew that it was enchanted? I know what it says.
Really?
Passage.
Huh. What does it mean?
What does it mean, Teach? Hey, Teach, what is the... I mean, I would assume it means passage.
Passages.
But where? Like, where's the passage?
Yeah, that's a real good question. Yeah, right? Anyone want to give that a shot?
I also want to note, you're looking at that one, right? That was the one that you came up to, I think, Wilhelm, but I just want to make sure.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, well then I'm going to go and look at the other one with my comprehend languages up for another hour.
It is one word again.
Oh.
Time.
Oh,
Where is that one?
Time on here, passage on here.
now, is it time with an H and a Y or the other kind?
You got me, secretly.
Coriander.
There's parsley, sage, rosemary.
Yes.
No.
Welcome to the spring marketplace.
Yeah, exactly. No, it is Time.
This is time, and then I'm going to just run up. I'm getting very excited, like,
Those are just magical symbols, so you don't know what they are.
just
they don't have any
magical
words on them.
symbols. What a cop
But again,
out.
I want to note that the time and the passage, and I think you can get this even from comprehend languages, the writing looks rushed. Like, it's not this calligraphic, beautiful, flourishing. It looks like someone, quickly scribbled this on. And I think you could probably even tell that the sigil itself, it's functional, whatever it is, but it was done with some haste.
This is like the graffiti we used to do back when I was living on the streets. It's really not very, what you would call Hearthglow levels of elegant.
No, I think we're chasing somebody.
Oh, definitely.
I don't think we knew it, but we're chasing somebody.
My ears perk up.
What was the text written with? Like ink or carved?
What is...
Or?
It looks to be carved into or etched into the stone.
Like,
some kind of
like a chisel?
Yes. Well, but very thin, so presumably like some hard metal thing, like that type of thing. Partly the reason for that, you notice, is that the rocks are so damp here that they can actually be almost like limestone, I guess, right? Like
Or
sort of cut into
sandstone,
a bed of
yeah.
sandstone.
And you're saying the recency that Wilhelm detected, that what happened recently was that the sigils were activated, not that the carving was...
No, you get the impression that the sigils and the carving were drawn here within the last couple of hours. I'm being a little bit, because there's only so much you can do with an Arcana check.
Yeah.
But yes, these seem rushed and definitely recent.
This feels like a trap.
Nah.
Oh, okay.
I'm just kidding.
Just like, all right.
No, I'm just kidding. I think that you have great instincts. What do you think the trap is?
Elder Honu will walk up to the next big transportation orb, presumably.
The pool, you mean in the middle?
Well,
the
no.
little area here is what I mean.
I don't think
No,
Oh, you
the
can't
next,
see
the
that.
other
What
one.
am I doing? I'm sorry. Beg your pardon.
I can see it on the table. No, the other spot. I don't know what
up
you
here.
call it. The sphere.
That is
yeah.
that is that is currently dark. There's nothing that when you came through it.
We came
leaked
through
out.
that.
Yes, you didn't come from
Okay.
over here this time.
Okay, so then, let's investigate the pool, then, the fountain or
Hey,
pond,
Allie.
whatever that is.
Can you smell traps? Do you have a horripilation of your scales?
No. That isn't a thing I could do. I could check for them, but I think it's more your skill set.
I'll check because I trust you.
Well, I mean, be careful. I feel like this could be some sort of weird time trap.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, Elder Hanu's checking that out. I'll come near Elder Hanu and sort of look around for traps if I can find them with the
Okay.
skills I have.
Sure. Go ahead and make an investigation check for me, please. Near the pool, and then I'm going to tell you what you see in a minute, Elder Hanu. Are you? By the way, you walk up to it. Are you touching? There is water in it, the same deep blue. Are you touching it? Are you leaning close to it? Are you just staring at it? What are you
Taking
doing?
a big drink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Diving
I think I'll do all of those things, but in reverse order. So I will stare at it, then look, kind of get closer to it, and then touch the water.
Okay, so I love the timing of this. So you do that. You
Wait!
just rolled a 20, right?
I rolled a 20.
You roll a 20. So you do not find anything related at all to traps. However, it is unquestionably the case that around the outside of the pool, there are several tracks. They look to be boot footprint tracks. And they look to be several of them, by which I mean one person that left several, not a bunch of people. Again, this sort of springy, mossy ground sort of leaves this, so you can see that. And they lead from here to here, and then up here. Zip, zip, zip. And you notice that as you reach down, when you touch the water, Elder Hanu, the water suddenly bubbles and then swirls, and coming up from the water is a small little typhoon zephyr water spout, and on the top of it, swimming up and then leaping out of it, is a fish. It is a silver fish, silver scales, about regular size, like a size of a trout, something like that comes up and then lands. And the silver scales really sort of glitter as you look at it, really beautiful. And it
You mean it lands on the ground?
It comes up the spout and then lands on the spout.
Oh, on the
and
spout.
it just balances there.
Okay.
And the spout is like spinning underneath it, and it just sort of sits there like calmly. The gills are moving, but it doesn't seem to be in any distress. And it sort of turns around to you, Hanu, and it looks directly at you, and it says, "Well, I did not expect to see you there. You're a turtle."
I bow my head and say,
Very observant. You are a fish.
And
Making friends.
and it says, "I am. Although I have not seen creatures here in a long time, and now several of you within just a short span of time. Why exactly have you come? Why enter this world?" Now, you all can hear the enter this world, too. He's speaking in common.
The elder will say,
We have reason to believe others who travel here wish to bring harm to this place, and so we are chasing them to stop them.
Look, he left footprints. And I'm going to point out the footprints that go from here to there to here.
And the fish is kind of like, like on top of the spout, sort of like looking around.
When the other guy came, did they go this path?
And the fish sort of kind of inclines its head to you, and
I do the
same. And it says, it's funny because it almost like
it's
flips
got a
over,
chill.
and it says, "What you said to me," and sort of like leans back over in the direction of the Hanu, "is what they said to me, that they were being followed, and those who followed were dangerous."
Yeah, to him.
And then turns back over to you, Mog, and says, "So I don't know if I should tell you. What if you're the dangerous ones?"
Well, we've made friends everywhere we've gone, except with the snowman. Look at this, for example. And I take out the owl feather.
And this! And I'll take out the blue crystal.
Okay.
This really nice owl and some pixies gave them to us because...
Yeah, I'm sorry, the orb is what I meant. The crystal was left behind.
Oh, okay.
So.
Yeah.
The orb and...
Oh, by the way, while you're on that subject, who was the last person to have the crystal?
I was.
Elder Hanu.
Left it in the thingy.
Hanu, I want to point out that it occurs to you as you're sort of reaching in your pack, or in your pouch, I don't know where you were keeping it, the crystal is back there. Now, you don't know how because it was on top of the pool when when you left the area, but it is now back with you somehow.
Oh.
Or something is that looks like it. So anyway,
Okay.
It just struck me. I want to make sure we do that when we're going on. But you would notice that now. Like, what? Okay, I'm sorry. What was
No. I mean, just we've made friends everywhere we went.
Yes, that's right. Pull out the thing.
And all the other places were scared of the intruders who come in. They seem to be taking resources, like draining magic from places, hurting people. And they tried to do the same to our place. We come from a school called Hearthglow. It's really great. They got me off the streets, teaching me magic. Look, this guy, he's so magic, and he can sing. And this one, she's so magic, and she's like all the dragons in one. I'm just saying, like, do we look dangerous? this person tried to drain the life out of Hearthglow and all the other worlds. Us making friends, trust me.
And so the fish kind of like having flipped back and forth as you're speaking, flips back and says, "There's not much of this world left to drain. This is all that you see. There is little land left. Now, just a world of water."
Hey, that's good news for you, right?
And the fish sort of makes no reply, just stares at you.
That is a very fishy glare.
I hate that this has happened to your world. And I kind of like
She's
step
just so
forward. I'm
nice.
holding the orb and also seeing if it glows anymore or anything else.
It does not, but the fish sort of looks at it curiously and says, "You say this is a part of the world from which you received it?"
It was a gift. We actually didn't want to take it, but our new friend insisted, saying it would help us on the way, because they understood that we were doing right, and we hope you do too.
The person who was here also took things from this world, but there was little else to do since there's not much in this world to give. But they said they needed it too. I don't have much time to encounter humanoid creatures, so I don't know whether to believe any of you or not.
Are you okay? Did that other person hurt you?
No, it would be difficult for them to hurt me.
Well, that's good.
And he kind of has this sort of very steady, it wouldn't. He says, "Perhaps if you were to meet my friend, he might be able to tell you more, but I must warn you, my friend is a little swift to anger."
Did the other guy meet your friend?
Yes.
This is above my pay grade, everyone.
I say we meet him.
We are ready to make friends and do right by this world, and if meeting a friend of yours is the way to do it, that sounds great.
So you hear, as you're sort of looking, you hear this, and at first you think coming from the thing in front of you, but
Uh-oh.
clearly not, because it's coming from behind you as you stare at the centerpiece, and
Like from this area here?
yes.
Okay.
So you're all right now facing the center as you hear this sound from behind you.
So, Zach, for you, coming directly opposite the portal in that water area.
Yeah, I can see.
Okay. I'm just going to prepare a friend spell, but
Okay.
not launch it yet. But I'll
Okay.
just have that at the ready.
Are you all still facing the center?
I would have whipped around at the sound, I think.
Same? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see coming from a distance, and you note that past the stones that, I'll show you this, Zach, that you can see here, that almost look kind of like, in this context, natural reefs. Beyond
Mhm.
those, just water. Just blue
Mm.
ocean. And you see a massive wave coming at you, a huge, almost like tsunami,
Oh my god.
30 feet high, like just this massive wave that's proceeding towards you. And the fish behind you says, "You might want to close your eyes. You could get a little wet."
So,
I'm gonna just dive behind
we're
that's
gonna
Elder
get behind
Han.
these.
I'm gonna get good behind Elder Hanu and just kind of cling to his shell.
Elder, what are you doing? Are you like
Bracing for impact, I guess.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm diving behind one of these things.
Okay.
I'm
I'll dive
bringing this
behind the
around
other
one. Same.
with me.
This water hits, this massive wave, and I had the experience once of being at, I think it was at Cedar Point, the amusement park in Indiana, but there's this water area where you know those log flumes that people
Sure,
go down,
yeah.
right? And I remember getting hit so hard, I was on the bridge that was above the flume, so hard by the water
Mm.
that my head, my glasses flew off and my head was slapped because of how much water came up.
Oh.
It's like, imagine that but more, right? Like you're just slammed by this water. Now, those of you behind the rocks are okay. Elder Hanu, I need you to make a, I think this is a strength saving throw, actually, to see if you can stay on your feet through this water.
17.
Dang.
I would say you can do that. Maybe just. And you said you were
Tapping
behind
into
Elder
that
Hanu?
Yeah, I'm
Trask
holding on to
power.
his
So
shell.
you hear he's like, As he's like holding on to him. The two of you, Wilhelm and Allie, are fine. And then the water sort of dies, and when you sort of like, kind of look at what happened, you can see just what look like at first these eyes that are leaning sort of over this, that seem visible over the steps. And at first, and these two enormous eyes.
They're forward facing?
They are, no, they're really sort of side facing, I would say.
yeah.
But they're so big that in a way it's sort of like...
Yeah, they create like a...
Yeah. And because they do bulge. And then the back of this creature that seems enormous, and you hear... the last thing that you said was for this world, right? He said, and you hear the sound of something saying impossibly low. And there's this rumbling. And so there's a pause, and then the fish behind you says, well, they won't be able to understand that. And there's a
Does
pause.
my comprehend languages do that? Or no, that's just written. Okay.
Yeah.
Tongues.
And so you can't, and so there's this pause, and then, must I always make accommodations for land things?
The creature is going to hear in his head, no, we can accommodate you sometimes.
And there's this pause again, and then,
Telepathy. More ways for land things to lie.
every time he speaks, the water like bubbles around the outside of this guy.
He said land telepathy. More ways for land things to lie. And so now I say to him, do water creatures lie?
No.
That seems like stereotyping. I gotta say, bro. There are a lot of creatures in the sea. Some of them gotta be liars.
There were lots of creatures in the sea, but no longer.
And the fish says, he is the last one.
That's so sad. That's sad. I'm sorry.
And there's just a sort of...
Your people caused it. Why should you be sorry?
I just get sad sometimes.
Are people doing
Well,
dumb things?
We should be sorry because we caused it. That's exactly why we should be sorry. Far too late.
And the fish says, as I told you, he is swift to anger.
Swift.
And every time he sort of grumbles, like water sort of splashes up onto the island a little bit, like,
We didn't come here to do any harm, and in fact, we're trying to help. The people who are doing this are not people we agree with. Since we are here to help, we're hoping that we can just be allowed to go after them. That's all we want to do.
They said you would say just this. Maybe they lied or you lie.
Right, but that also means that one of us is telling the truth, which tells you that we're not all the same. I don't know what they used to convince you, but we've made friends along the way. People gave us things, and then I say, like, hey, here's another feather, and I hold up the orb as well. It's like, these are people from realms like yours who are trusting us. What did they show you that made you trust them?
And the owl who gave us this feather is sort of like the spirit of that world. And, maybe you're the spirit of this world?
and there's a sort of, first you hear and first you're like, what is going on? And then you realize that it's laughter.
Oh.
Bitter laughter, probably.
Oh.
I was the guardian spirit. Much good did it do this world, or those who lived within it. And as for what they gave me...
And there's a moment of, and this, you can sort of, again, water sort of rushing over the island, and you can see it moving its body, and now you can see that this is unquestionably a massive whale.
Ooh.
That this is the body of. And you can see it sort of lifts this, and it only can go, I don't know, a fifth of the way out of the water, like it's so enormous. But you can see that on the side of it, it has this sort of rubbery, grayish skin. And a part of the gray skin has been cut out from it.
Can anybody heal that?
And
I don't need your healing land thing.
It's just so sad.
So, if it took a chunk of your flesh, you have to know that this thing does not mean good.
All of your kind, even before this one came, took parts of our world, bit by bit, gallon by gallon, ounce by ounce, till all you see is this, and soon the oceans too will die the same way.
Elder Honu will go over to Wilhelm and whisper to him,
You know any watery songs?
sea shanties.
Yo.
99 bottles of beer on the wall.
and the
So
elder
much
says,
of world.
the elder says,
I don't mean to put you on the spot, young student, but I can, offer it healing by way of this.
and I'll open my palm, and you would see the potential of a spell in the same way that we maybe were using like firebolts to warm a campfire, but maybe not like literally casting firebolt a whole bunch of times. You see, I have a spell called Healing Spirit, and essentially in the palm of my hand is a fish spirit, and it has like the same sort of healing energy that is usually accompanies my spells. And I say,
If it won't accept healing from us, maybe it would accept it for this. And then I was thinking maybe a song or words would inspire it as well.
Yes. I can offer a story in turn. And I'm going to turn to the creature. Pardon, what is your name?
It is too long for you to pronounce, but you may call me in your tongue Oceania.
Oceania.
Oceania. We too are wounded. We've gone a long, long way and fought many a evil. One thing that I find that was taken from me was my ability to play this. I'm going to take out my pan flute.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember learning this. And maybe that's what was taken from me. But the only songs I can play now are this wounded refrain. And you do not want healing, so I will offer you something broken of me as well. And I'm going to, without knowing how, try and play the best that I can of this instrument.
I'm going to ask you to make a performance check at disadvantage, but I'll allow other people to adjust it if they can. Like guidance, for
I
example,
will,
if you want
yeah,
more.
I will cast guidance.
I would like to assist by bawling uncontrollably. It's just so beautiful. It's so joy used to play like a dream.
And I can't give inspiration, but I'll come and just like kind of pat your shoulder. You know, I'll just like comfort you because I was there when it happened.
Yeah, we were all there.
You know
This is-
what? I think, well, is the assistance that Ali Nide is offering, is that going to cancel the disadvantage? Is it
Well,
going to give
it depends. Depends on a question I have to ask Wilhelm, which is this you're going to sing this or just play it?
I can do some of both.
Okay. If you, the two of you, or either of you, want to make a performance check to accompany, doesn't mean you have to be gifted musicians. I might consider canceling the disadvantage. Depends.
I mean, so meaning like I would stop crying and try to sing along.
I mean, unless you want to cry in tune.
I want to cry in tune.
Do we know the refrain you're trying to do? Like, is it like a folk tune that has a title, or something that we know you've composed that we've back in the day when we knew you could play? Is it something that you played for us before, or is it something new that as you're learning the pan flutes all over again, you've just started working on?
He's unsure of what he's even going to play now.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So we don't know it.
So, all right, I'm gonna kind of squat beside him, kind of pat his shoulders. He's playing, and every time he plays a note, I'll just hum that note back.
And yeah, I'm gonna go like full weeping doo-wop girl here, and just kind of like.
Okay.
But I'll make a performance check for that.
Okay. Let me see those first, and then I'll come to yours. Well,
I have a +4 on this.
I'm also
It's
going-
14 total.
okay.
I have a +0. Should I even do this?
Yeah, do it. It's great.
12.
I'm going to take a long breath out and give myself bardic inspiration as well.
Okay, and then Hanu is doing guidance too.
Gotcha.
That's right.
All right. So, yeah, I'd say that cancels a disadvantage. So you're just doing the check at regular.
Right. And should I still add the things from guidance and
Yes.
this?
Yes.
That's a D4. Nope. Okay, pretty good. It's altogether 18.
So, as you're doing this, there's a sort of the the rumbling of the water, but then that you notice that it sort of stills a bit, and there's a moment where the water that has been rippling becomes glassily calm. The all of the blue water around the edges, and Zach, all the water, like here and down here. All of this water becomes smooth as glass. So you have this moment where you see this almost mirrored surface up to the enormous eyes of this thing as it listens. And when you were done, the whale sort of pauses and then says, maybe lies. Sounds not very certain about that. And the fish behind says, you know that's not true. Nothing that sings like that could be filled with falsehood. You used to know that, Oceania. Have you forgotten?
Oh.
And there's this grumbling.
And
then
your healing spell go
So
on?
now, yes. So now the fin sort of rises
So-
up from the water again.
Yeah, so as a follow-up, Elder will say,
Oceania, you say you are the last creature of this ocean. What is a friend of yours that you remember and miss?
And so there's a pause, and Oceania says, I remember everything that crawled on the ocean floor, or swam through its depths, or flew above the sky. Only the one behind you remains beside me, and he is infused with magic. And the fish behind says, that does not mean I am not a fish. And the whale says, a distinction without a difference.
Hanu then will gesture his hand forward and release the spell Healing Spirit. So it says, you call forth a nature spirit to soothe the wounded. The spirit appears in a space that is a 5-foot cube you can see within range. The spirit looks like a transparent beast or fae, your choice. So I would like to make it look like a small dolphin. Small
Aww.
given the 5-foot cube, but I make it look like a dolphin. And it says until the spell ends, I can move the spirit up to 30 feet to a space I can see. And so I'll have the dolphin like in the air, sort of what's the motion that they do?
Yeah,
I don't
you
know.
have it right.
Yeah.
Or but is there a word for that?
Oh,
I don't know.
Leaping, usually.
Yeah,
I guess so.
Cavorting.
The official term is breach when they come out of the water, but like
Sure. Yeah, I'll have it,
double
you know,
breach.
Yeah, breach and then unbreach.
dance through the air, I guess, as I say,
This is a healing spirit. We will not touch your wound, but the way the magic works is that if you pass through the spirit, you will be healed.
and I'll have the dolphin stay still for a moment, and I will walk forward through it. And maybe some of the cracks on my shell sort of seam up a little bit, some of the wounds and the dirt kind of cleans up. As the mechanic of the spell is that if a creature walks through the spirit's space, the spirit will confer healing to them.
Mhm.
So then I will float the dolphin spirit over to the Oceania's side, or like close to where the wound is, but I will stop it and let Oceania make the decision whether or not to do it.
Oceania sort of looks at this dolphin and then sort of lowers the fin so that the dolphin can sort of dance up and over it, basically, and through it. So you have this moment, all of you, of watching from the shore as this dolphin sort of leaps over the wounded portion of the fin of Oceania. You notice that the skin does heal a little. And there's a moment where you're like, I mean, like, it doesn't look all that big. It's not, I mean, it's a big patch, but it's not like, this fin is the size of the house. Like, it's right, it's enormous. But it doesn't seem to heal all that much, but as Hanu, as you watch the dolphin finally having done its thing, sort of, I guess, swim off, basically.
The spell expires.
There's a sort of long pause from the whale, and then it says,
"The healing is appreciated."
And the fish behind you says, "It may not seem like much, but your spell healed a little portion of the entire world of the ocean." And it occurs to you that you've been healing the ocean. And so the whale then says,
"Perhaps you are not lying. Then the one who came before did. They will find what they seek, and when they do, they may destroy other worlds as mine has been."
Do you know what they were seeking?
They said they sought to understand time.
I mean, all of us are, in some way. Is there an object that person was seeking?
I don't know. They did seem to be looking for an artifact, perhaps some item. I explained that time is not defined through things, but they laughed before they did this.
and kind of like gestures at the fin.
Yeah.
Hey, but, these 4 worlds we've been traveling through, where are the seasons? Are these worlds representations of time? And is this person collecting something from each world? I don't know. There might be something in that.
Did they ever say the word Megirolith?
Not in my presence.
I turn to the fish. Have you ever heard that word?
I know of many magical things, but the word is strange to me. Perhaps, what does this thing do?
Well, the person that we're chasing used this object called the Megirolith to stop time and possibly, almost, if we weren't there, cause great havoc and great destruction in that moment. It was an item of great power, but it is time-based in the way that it operates.
The whale from behind you says,
You speak of a chasm, something at the bottom of the ocean which dives into darkness and consumes all within it.
Chasm. It's like the ocean's version of a black hole.
and the fish, the magical fish, says,
I believe that Oceania is correct. If that is so, you are in tremendous, stranger.
It's new.
Ah, well, that's why we went to Hearthglow after all.
If you wish to go forward, although...
And the whale sort of pauses and then says,
You could stay. There is not much in this world, but I could take you to see the sights. The lights upon the ocean. There are beautiful shifts within the sky that mirrors that which lies beneath the waves. And there are things below the waves still.
That sounds so beautiful. Very romantic. Do you think we could come back later and do that?
and there's just sort of this pause as if the whale doesn't understand.
I mean, like,
What?
like a vacation? Like, will that offer still stand? Let's say we go stop this guy from doing terrible things, because I think we all agree she'll be stopped. But after, can we come back and, like, play with you for a while?
And there's a long pause, and then
See the sights? See the ships above and below?
Enjoy the wonders
Romantically?
with people we care about.
Yeah, it'd be great to do as a group.
Allie dies. 0
big group zoned.
He's not picking up on it.
And
I
so
just think that we're maturing faster than he is.
so the whale says,
I cannot tell the future, but if you would find a way, then...
and there's a pause, and then you see the eyes for a moment, and as it sinks below the water, right? And then it lifts after maybe about a minute. It lifts up again, and you can see that on the top of this thing is a piece of darkened blue coral.
Ooh.
It's just on the top. And it sort of lowers its great head so that you could theoretically, like, walk up a couple steps to get to the coral if you wanted.
We do so?
I think, yeah, you should do it, because you sang the song.
Sure. I'll slowly walk.
Okay. You have the experience as you're on it of feeling like every step is like slightly pushing down into, I mean, not harmfully, but like into this
like
thing.
a pier or something. Yeah.
But you have a sense underneath it of this thrumming, almost Wilhelm, this sort of thrumming as if there is something in tune with the rhythm of waves. When you get to the top and to the little bit further up to where the coral is, you can pick it up if you wish, and you hear the thing say, so all of you hear it say,
Be careful, land thing. They can be sharp.
but you feel it as, like as you feel it like resonating through your feet, right? And then up through your legs. So it says to be careful, because it is sharp.
Alright. I'm going to reach out. Does he want me to break a piece off?
No, you get no, it's probably about this big.
Oh, okay.
Hey,
Right.
wrap your hands! Wrap your hands!
Sure. I'm going to pull up my sleeve.
Okay. It's a good thing, because when you pick it up, even through the wrapping, you can feel the sharpness, like if you had picked it up, if I would have just like sliced the skin. Surprisingly light. And so now you have it in your hands, your wrapped hands.
And you know what? I'm going to place my flute where it was.
And, okay, so you walk back down, the flute's on top.
Hey, look.
And
Everyone for his
the
birthday.
creature, as you get off it, says,
I did not ask for a gift from you, land thing.
We don't just take.
the great eyes sort of, fathomless almost observe you, and then
I'm gonna use prestidigitation to blow air through the flute and have it play just like random notes there, just like a.
okay. So it does, and then the whale says,
Thank you. When this music plays, I will remember. I will remember in the ancient deeps.
I guess we're not coming back for vacation.
You didn't say no.
So then, turning to the fish, like, we really need to find this other desperately evil person. How do we follow them?
I'm just gonna also just, as you're saying this, put my feet in the footprints, and kind of try to follow them in the pattern that I perceive them.
Okay. Yeah, because what you see is that, let me see, I can probably freehand this here. So these tracks went, like, down this way, and then back up here. But the thing I want you to notice, because you had, as I recall, a pretty good investigation.
That was a
check
natural
around there.
20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You notice that the footsteps are further apart, as if the person was running by the time they got up to the portal.
Do we get that they took a chunk out of the whale? And do you think that that's where they went to take the chunk out?
That's I mean, you have no way of knowing it.
But there's no other footprints that indicate where else they might have been.
No, although there's so much water, and
They
so
might
like
have-
I mean, yeah. But having said that, no, you don't see anything else other than the very clear track, which even as you look at it, Mog, is becoming more and more faint because the moss is kind of, which means a couple hours.
So usually portals would open for us having to do with the pool, but that's the portal we came through, so interesting. But passage and time have been scribed into the rocks. What does it all mean?
Well, I've asked the fish.
And
How do we get out of here?
and the fish says, "You have already heard the meanings. You have been given a gift from Oceania, and that should give you passage beyond. Though you must be warned, I cannot speak, nor Oceania, for creatures in any other world than our own."
Oh, we know that for sure.
I got a long sword, don't worry. Or something, a rapier.
Sort of flips.
It's this. It's sharp. We got this.
Okay.
Yeah, so I look at Wilhelm and I'm like, I think it's the coral.
It has to be. Yeah.
Shall we lead the way?
All right. I'm gonna hold it close.
Okay. When you do, the water spout sort of increases, basically heightens, and the fish is elevated above it. So, and he says, yeah, basically, yeah.
Place it within the spout for a moment.
I'll do so.
When you do no, actually, this is a good question. You still have your hands wrapped, right? But it's not wrapped.
Yeah.
Okay. So using the, like sort of bringing it over, the water, when it hits the coral, which again, as I said, was dark and blue, the coral lightens to become and intensifies to become the blue of the water around it, and now feels, and you can see little lines of white magic exactly like these lines. Oops.
Ooh,
shoot,
cool.
Sorry. These lines, like that kind of color striations through the coral. And the fish says,
I will take it and go. Thank you for your kindness, but be careful. It may not be reciprocated.
and the creature sort of, and then the spout drops, and the fish does one little leap up, and then as it dives, the two great eyes of the whale also below the surface.
Goodbye, Oceania. I want to come back and heal this place. I said to everybody else.
We need more spells. We gotta just feed spells into this world.
We need to tell Hearthglow just all the damage that's been done here.
I don't know. Hearthglow isn't full of all the best people sometimes. Gotta be careful who we tell. So the coral striations, did the portal change? I'm sorry.
So the portal there's no portal yet. There's nothing glowing up there yet.
Okay.
But you have this coral now with the striations.
I'll take it up to the portal.
When you get up to the portal, then it flares. Not blue this time. Brown.
I'm gonna unsling my short bow and carry it with me, just for a long range, immediate attack if I need to.
Got you. Okay, who's going through?
I should probably go in last, actually, so nobody gets trapped.
Right.
Want to send Mr. Roundclown first?
Mr. Roundclown will go first, and I right behind.
Okay.
And I'll be...
Remember, we talked just briefly. A living creature needs to be the sort of central person. They
I'll
can
do
go
it.
equally to you. That's fine. Like 2 can go in at once, probably.
Have him come. We'll go. I'll go first, but he can come right with me.
Okay.
Got my bow. I'll hide right behind him. I'm fast at ducking.
I feel like... Okay, all right.
I got this.
I'm worried about you. You're
Come
taking
right
a lot of
behind
this. I will.
All right.
I do.
So order.
Me and Mr. Roundclown.
Okay.
Allie, right
Yeah.
behind.
And then Elder, and then Wilhelm.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, I will ask you, I apologize, to shield your eyes one more time. Okay.
Urge to cheat, rising.
Urge to grow eyeballs in the palms of my hand, rising.
So, you leave behind...
Hey, wait, can we look yet?
Not yet. Just a second. You left behind a moist world, a damp world. What happens when you enter in? You take it easy. When you enter this new world.
When we enter the brown hole.
Have we entered the moist brown hole yet?
No, you're leaving it. You're leaving it. For the love of God.
We're leaving the moist place to the brown hole.
So it's a dry brown hole?
All right, that's our show. Okay.
Wait, can we
Lock
look
it up
yet?
in your eyes. Yes.
Okay.
It was my fault for not letting you look. You enter a world here of what can only be described really as devastation. It is a sand-blasted, arid, and hot world, but it is a dry heat. There is sand that sort of that hits your eyes and blows up from the ground as you enter. And you do come in
like Phoenix.
from this side right here. From the bottom again. So
Okay.
you are back here. And again, you see, now there's nothing, this thing up here is dark. You have the pool up here. There's no water here at all. Now it is just, and there is a whooshing, like blowing wind into you, and it's gritty, and you can feel the sort of almost the scratching of on your skin as it hits your skin. It is a blasted desert-looking wasteland leading up to this.
Hey,
I do not like this place.
but it makes a great poem, doesn't it?
Very empty. Perfect for poetry.
Yes, there's probably some great ruins here.
Let's check the sigils.
Sigils. All right, I still got my spell up.
There's nobody here, is there?
Perception check.
I'm not looking. I'm just looking at the sigils. Do.
20.
There is no one that you see here, but there are tracks. Tracks, even as you look at them. I shouldn't be making this blue. You'll get the wrong idea. There's no water, okay? Tracks that go up here and then seem to circle, like they're spiraling for some reason, and then are covered over again. Because even as you're looking, there's wind sweeping sand into where there was, which means, Wilhelm, given how fast you're seeing the tracks go, you've got to be pretty close to whoever it is that was in here.
Okay.
But
So
you don't see anyone here.
I'm
right
gonna
now.
kind of do the same as like put my feet in the tracks. I'm gonna look. I'm gonna do kind of check for traps, see what I notice. But also, I'm on my way to the sigil, so I'm gonna follow what tracks that as he points them out. I'm gonna follow them kind of around and then look at the sigils and see what else I can see.
Let me have you make an investigation check while you're doing that.
Investigation. I'm gonna use this brass one for this
Sounds
sandblasted
good.
brown hole. 10 total.
Yeah, I mean, it's again like even as you're there, the tracks are covering over. So you're
feel
pretty
like there's-
sure you saw it spin over around here. Then when you make your way around, probably to here, Mog, you're like footprints, and then you realize those are your footprints
Oh.
that you're watching. You're like, God damn it!
Do the sigils say anything?
I will
That I
talk
can
about those
see.
sigils in a
Oh,
minute.
sure,
I just
sure.
want to ask Elder Hanu, what are you doing while this is happening?
Keeping my eyes peeled, but I think Elder is approaching the pond, the water fountain.
Okay, which actually has no water within it. It is a dry, sort of like empty hole, essentially. That is like a pit, I guess you might say, but very shallow.
I send Mr. Roundclown with Elder Hanu,
Okay.
so they're working side by side.
As far as the sigils are concerned, These have been clearly, you can see, etched on with like sandstone of some kind or the other. And they look odd, Mog. This one over here is flickering, is the way I would describe it. It's looks sort of half broken and kind of like kind of almost as if there were an electrical current. That wouldn't count in a world like this, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes. This one over here looks more standard, like the sigils you've seen before. You still don't know what they mean, and
So
there are no words or anything written below these.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And the portal, it looks dead, right?
Correct. Also, as you look at the bottom over here and over here, you can see that there is something bleach white lying next to the portal. Two things, really. One left, one right.
Are they roughly chalk-sized?
No, bigger than that.
Like humanoid size?
Maybe.
So one to the left, one to the right, like died on their way up there, like were beamed, like in Never-Ending Story by the Sphinx?
They look like... Well, are you going up there to see?
Mr. Round Clown is going to go up there first.
Okay.
I'll ask everybody to back off, and I'll have Mr. Round Clown approach.
And Mr. Roundclown is not going to be able to perceive things, is he? Or investigate?
He does not perceive or investigate. He's more like...
He can, like... Okay.
Yeah.
They look like two large bones. And they look like bones. Tibias, right, I believe? They look like those. Two of them, but they do seem to be kind of placed facing, like diagonally facing the portal. So, like this and like that.
Right.
About the same size. But definitely bones, not constructed. They belong to something, and presumably humanoid.
This was about, in the snow world, there was something, that's where, like, the snow person was, right?
The snowman I actually thought was over here.
More like on the
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I
Yeah.
thought it was in front of where the
No,
portal
I think the
was.
snowman was down here when you were looking to see.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Are there any other bones scattered about, maybe not directly in front of the portal, but are there any others in that vicinity around that area?
You could look if you wish.
I do wish.
Is anyone else? Wilhelm, what about you? What are you
I'm
doing
going
this
to
time?
as well. I want to see if any pieces, possibly, of those two bones sticking up are chipped off or taken.
Okay. All right.
I'm
So
going to do, if it's okay, I'm going to explore the flickering sigil to see if I can figure anything else about it.
okay, and then Elder Hanu, you're still keeping your eyes peeled.
Yeah, I think trying to just, while the students are investigating, just keeping an eye out for danger.
Okay, let me go this one by one. The sigils. You're checking what on those specifically? Like,
I'm
figure
trying to
out what's
figure out,
going on with it?
I'm specifically trying to figure out if, like, making the sigil stay seems like it would activate the portal.
Okay. You're probably not going to be able to figure that out just by looking. Are you going to try to, like...
So, you said it was made by sandstone, and this is like an arid area. I'm going
Right.
to try to see about, like...
Are you going to try to re-etch it?
I'm going to try to re-etch it.
Okay. Let me have you make Arcana check.
Okay. I have +2 on this. That's 11.
You start doing this, but it's very difficult. It is sandstone, but it's very difficult to get in a way that's connecting.
Yeah.
Maybe that would do something theoretically, but you're not really able to make the connection that you would hope for.
Okay.
Whoever did this had enough skill to know how to make the sigil, even though clearly there are the breaks. Like, it seems like it was like, that kind of thing.
Right on.
You were looking for
More bones.
More bones.
Like things that might match the femurs that are scattered about.
Where are you looking for those specifically?
Well, the first place on here, so if the bones are here and here, I'm just going to look all around this area first. And if I don't find anything first, I'll widen my search. I'm sort of have this kind of concern from Snowman Landia that if all the bones come together to form a construct, if we trip a trap or something.
Right.
So I'm like looking for something that either created the bones in the first place or more bones, or like if I find more bones, did they fly out in a pattern? Like just something about the bones. I'm investigating around the bones and for the bones.
Got you. And Wilhelm, you were also looking at the bones, but I think you were looking more at the specific ones. Or
Yeah.
was it? Okay. That actually all really works. So, you make your search. So I would like you, I'm going to have you make a nature check for me, please, actually, as you're going around, because you're partly figuring out how these bones, the leg bone's connected to the hip bone and all.
I have good nature, but I rolled a 4, so 9.
You're like, the problem is there's so much sand and dust around it, as you're looking around.
In it.
You, on the other hand, Wilhelm, when you get to the bones themselves, so you can see they're sort of like lying just sort of on top of the sand. It seems like there may be a little part of it that's underneath the sand, like, so they're just sort of lying with a slight amount buried.
You're going to slowly uncover them.
So when you take the bones, you mentioned, Elder Hanu, that you were on the lookout for danger.
Mm-hmm.
So you hear this clacking sound, this, and suddenly, Wilhelm, you are thrown backwards. I need you to make a strength saving throw for me, please.
All right.
I was trying to prevent this from happening, and
when
I
you said
failed.
construct, I'm like,
Oh,
like,
oh, that's a 2 minus 1.
you are thrown backwards, and you are going to land here. You are, in fact, also going to take 2 points of damage, Wilhelm, as you kind of hit the ground heavily. And then as your sort of vision is swimming, you all see that the bones are connected to things. They are connected to feet that extend around the portal. And pulling itself up from here to here is an enormous beast. It is indeed, you thought they were, fibias, as I said, or tibias. They're in fact a lot more bones than that are all attached and connected, and then coming up and sand sort of draining from them are these bony wings.
Ooh.
And you see that you were looking at a dragon skeleton composed of bones, and it looks at you and as wind and sand rushes in your direction. And that's what we're going to call it.
Oh, hey, it's a great grandma.
I love how well you were all handling this. That was beautiful role play. I'll come back to that.
Lovely.
Really, really lovely stuff. And the passage of time and the movement and the feeling that you all get the sense you're making your way towards something here, I hope. You're definitely right on the heels of something, but lovely, lovely play. And I cannot wait to see what happens with this and perhaps whatever comes afterwards with this stuff. So as you explore the worlds of time and so forth. This was great stuff. I will start, first of all, I guess I'll go in the same order. So I'll start with Carlos first. Great stuff from Allie today. I really loved, of course, the connection with Wilhelm. I like that sweet little moment of putting the bedroll over Wilhelm and then Wilhelm waking up and you being like, oh yeah, it's cold. Oh, I don't have anything. Well, I mean, like I'm made of fire. It's fine. And then obviously some very nice moments as well, playing out with Oceania and this sort of sense. All of you had this sense, I think, that you felt bad. You talked about being sad, but really Allie had this sort of several lovely moments of, but we aren't like them. I think you were all really wanted, but we're not like all the other land things. That was lovely, I thought. And so I'm curious how you felt today, and where the folks will see you before Hearthglow next month.
Yeah. Super fun today. This is like the kind of role play that I really love, It also, this is like really insider baseball, but it reminded me of a certain character that I read from a certain manuscript from a certain someone that had one.
Thank you for the reference, Carlos.
Yeah. Just I think I'm noticing a theme that might be just like when I'm writing my paper about your magnum opus, I'll be able to make these connections a little bit later. But yeah, no, great fun. Really enjoyed the interplay and like how everybody was featured differently and powerfully, I thought.
Yeah.
So really the kind of game I enjoy the most, I think. So great fun. where the hell will people see me? I hope they won't see me. I hope that I'll be buried in my office, pumping out all sorts of different projects.
That's true.
BossCon next month.
Yeah, we will be at BossCon. I don't know. When are we playing again? Like, is it...
Well, we have to talk about that and see. I mean, I'll also be at BossCon, but
Yeah.
Adam won't be at BossCon, so we'll have to figure it out. We'll talk about it, but sometime next month.
Yeah, but if you're in the Boston area, come to BossCon. You can join our book release for Infernal Bargains.
Yeah. I'm excited to see that.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Thank you, Carlos.
Yeah.
Claire, again, lovely stuff also. I felt very keenly Mog's desire also not to be associated with the folks that do the bad things. And also the connection with, because that was important, that performance check. Because there is a reason, obviously, that Oceania was kind of like, screw all the land people, so you all made, I think, a good decision. And Elder Han, and, Zach, you had a good call with Elder Han suggesting it in the first place. But all of you together, I think, were collectively, and you were the first one to talk about sort of sitting next to, you were doing the doo-wop bowling thing. But you were talking about sort of sitting next to, giving a sense of comfort, purpose, something like that, which I thought was really nice. And then practically speaking, you were on point with a lot of the ideas that you had. You were dead on about like, I only see two bones. They're both like this. Are we sure they're not connected to something else? And then the check was not quite what you were hoping for.
The checks are always so much different than like my instinct for narrative.
Yeah. Well, but I like the idea. I will say, I always feel like the dice sometimes follow the narrative. And in this case, I think there's something to be said for that because you did get that critical hit on the tracking in the water world that allowed you to see this thing that might have given you the first clue. It went down to the water. Whoever this was did something that wasn't what you all did. It was something that was presumably evil and nasty, and then went up to the portal. You tracked all that down. So it was very much a sense of being the kind of sort of, I don't know, it felt to me very much like you were back in your element almost as a shifter, kind of seeing where people are going and knowing what they're doing.
And I like that, like, in a sand-blasted place with the winds blowing, that it might be, like, to the best of her ability might be pretty good, but it's against a wasteland.
Especially given what you just came from.
Yeah.
Which was also devastation, but not as devastated as this. So,
yeah, it's real interesting narratively.
Yeah. How did you feel overall about it, and where will the folks see you?
Oh, it's just so sweet, like, so melancholy, but grand, and with its funny, and I really liked the fish. I liked his, I liked the interplay between, I'm starting to feel, like, much closer, or a sense of history, like shared history between us as students, which before the first episode where we all went into the library, I'm not sure how well our characters all knew each other,
right.
But we saw you sacrifice there. And I think that has created a bond that is sort of, the longer we play, becoming more and more apparent, which I think is really fun.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying that.
Absolutely. Anything you want to promote about stuff that's happening until we see you next month?
Carlos and I, on the 17th of this month, will be on Twitch.
Oh, right.
And Carlos is going to be running through, he made an iteration of our game, Negocios Infernalis, for Roll20. And so he's going to be kind of teaching, like, how to go through the game as, not a GM because it's GM-less, but as the person running the Roll20 game for your friends, like how to use the assets that are on Roll20. So that'll be 7 p.m. Eastern on Roll20. We're probably starting a Twitch channel, so it'll probably be something to do with either CSE Cooney, which would be my name, or the Hernan Doonies in general. That would be...
What day, do you know?
Friday, the 17th.
Yeah. It's going to be... Friday, I'm sorry.
Friday the 17th, 7 p.m.
Okay.
And we'll be, like, sending out announcements and stuff. So.
Okay, cool. Great stuff. Thank you, Claire.
Thank you.
Adam... Absolutely lovely, lovely, lovely stuff. It's important to remember that for those of you who don't know what this is referencing, I'm going to give you a spoiler from the early, but if you're watching Hearthglow, I really hope you saw the earlier adventure that started this all. There's a portion of the adventure where Wilhelm sacrifices his ability to play the pan flute, such that he doesn't even remember. Now, there were two moments that admittedly made me tear up. I teared up a little bit during this session too, because I remembered that, which is where you made you said, like, when someone was like, I think it might have been one of the two of you who said, it's so sad that you don't remember this. And he's like, what do you mean? I don't know anything about this. And I was like, oh my God, it was so beautiful. And this really was too, in that you were taking a suggestion from Elder Hanu, and you were deepening it, I think, in a way. That idea of sharing brokenness was very important because the whale was not just going to be like, oh, you seem nice. Like, everyone seems nice until they rip pieces of his film. I love that image. And I will say that when it inspired me a bit when that fin partly was healed, that is a slight reference to a old Norse myth about when Thor visits the giants. The myth goes that he visits the giants, he goes through these series of trials, and he feels like he's not doing anything. Like he wrestles this old woman and he can't lift her off the floor and all this stuff. And so one of them, there's this moment at the end where he has this huge goblet that they have him drink from, and he drinks and he drinks and he drinks and he drinks, and it goes down like, I don't know, like barely a centimeter. And so he's really depressed and he leaves, but Loki is with him. And his brother, and Loki says to him, he's like, you don't understand. The reason they had you leave is because you were draining the oceans when you were drinking from the goblet. And so I had that moment of the idea that you were actually, Zach, the fish was healing him, but that was started really through Wilhelm's work. So great stuff, Adam, really. And you had other good moments too related to that. But then I'm telling you right now, that's going to be the woo. That was the Oceania piece was really great. How did you feel about today? Where will the fine folks find you next?
I think Wilhelm is really starting to fall into focusing on things that aren't just his spellcraft or his poetry, because from the very beginning he's been not impassionate, but someone who's very focused on his education and his spellcraft rather than his connections with others.
Yeah.
But through that wound that he didn't even know existed until a little bit ago, he's starting to actually find connections in these people that he's with. And be able to use that as well as what he knows.
Yeah.
And accepting connecting with others as a form of education or a form of study for him, because he thinks very black and white about these things, is a very important development. And I think this showed that.
Yeah, totally. It was really nice, vulnerable stuff. Anything you want to promo about stuff that's happening for you soon?
I have my show coming up. It is going to be performing sometime in March at Sacred Heart.
What's it called?
It's called Calliope, and it's sort of a story about family trauma and processing that through a tarot card reading.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Do you have a date?
It's somewhere in the vicinity of March 13th to 16th.
Okay, yeah. So you'll be able to tell people
probably next time.
Next time, yeah, for the February one for sure.
That's what I have going on.
Thank you, Adam. Really good stuff today. Zach, also really good stuff from Elder Hanu, and I thought, again, the healing was great. And particularly the idea that you're like, if you won't take it, from one of us, maybe something which is a fish. And I was wondering, I was thinking to myself, like, would Oceania view this as sort of like pandering, like, shut up, man, but no, because in the context of what Wilhelm was doing at the same time, accompanied again by the harmonizing of what the other two were doing, it did feel like you were all collectively trying to do something through the method of communication that you made possible through the dolphin. So, that was very interesting to me and, suggested something about the kind of wisdom that Elder Hanu possesses. I love how everyone is so protective of Elder Hanu, like, especially Mog. We know that's a big part of things, but like, even when you're just kind of like, okay, the rock's talking to you, but everyone's just like, no, but Elder, are you fine? Like, I'm okay. They clearly love you. And I had never thought when I was constructing this, I assumed it was like a group of students, like the whole 3 plus a faculty member, like a chaperone didn't really occur to me until later, but it's actually worked out nicely with this group. And so you saw some of that dynamic again today. What did you think of today? Where will the fine folks find you next?
Yeah, I think when the idea of healing the whale came to me, there's actually a moment for anyone who's watching where I think the rest of you were in conversation, but then me on camera, I was like, I can heal it with a healing spirit, and it doesn't involve touching it or doing anything. But then, exactly like you were describing, I realized, well, no, if I'm like, hey, here's a spirit that represents the oceanic animals that aren't around anymore, and it's going to heal you. I realized I couldn't really just do that alone, because it might seem like pandering or maybe would be interpreted, the intent would not be interpreted the way I would want. And so, as a way to make it better. And then also Hanu's thing is to try to give these students as much opportunity for experience as possible. So yeah, it made a lot of sense to kind of pass the ball over to Wilhelm and ask him if he could contribute. And then from there, that's where those group moments come from. So yeah, I think we end up creating all these really, really, beautiful moments that you could never imagine leading up to the session, and we don't even know what we're going to encounter, but then we have to just be prepared as performers. So no, it's just great. It's a great exercise. It's a great story, Greg, that you've assembled, and I'm excited to see what happens. And surely this skeletal dragon that has appeared and roared is just as friendly as all the other animal spirits that we've
I am
encountered.
Desertlandia.
And totally will not be an epic boss combat that we're starting next session.
Ozymandias! Yeah.
Exactly.
Ozymandias.
Upon the blasted throne.
So
What?
I had a great time. People will find me back here again for this, of course, on the Arvin Elleron channel for Expedition from the Mysterious Peaks and our vocalists. Also, our podcast, me and Greg's podcast, Gen GMs, which is renewing in this new year. And then on my own Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/ZachClay, where I am highlighting roleplay communities in World of Warcraft and Minecraft and beyond, and D&D stuff, other D&D things coming up soon too. But yeah, that's me. Really fun to be here. And then soon enough, in a couple months, maybe actually I'll be there in person. The East,
In person.
yes,
It's going to be very
the East
exciting.
Coast summoning ritual will be complete. And I will be
We're
over there.
inscribing the arcane circle as we
Yeah,
speak.
As we speak.
It's a
I
long
cannot wait.
casting time.
Yeah, exactly. I can't wait to ritual cast summon Zach Clay. This was great. Thank you again to all of you. Thank you to all of you who are listening and watching. Please do spread the word about this and let us know. Give us feedback. You can find me find us over on twitch.tv/ArvinElleron for the live channel. But for the recording specifically, my website, arvinelleron.com. You can also find me on the YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/ArvinElleron. Thank you as well to Triffity Mats on Twitch, who is also my podcast editor, who is editing this and doing audio, and I hope is not finding this frustrating to do, because I hope we have all the audio working exactly as planned now. But otherwise, we will see you you'll have multiple audio sessions of this, but we'll see you for the next long version of this in February, and then our big finale, live and in person at Sacred Heart University in March 2025. Until then, thank you from all of us, Carlos, Claire, Adam, and Zach. My name's Greg. We will see you folks soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye, Zach!